Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening, Bhante. And
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening, Bhante, and everyone.
Good
Good
evening,
evening, Dharma
Bhante.
friends.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone.
Yes. Welcome back to online part reading class day 32. Do we have newcomers today as well? Mostly the ones that we've seen before. All right, so let's get started by paying homage to the book. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Right. So today we are going to start a new sutta, which is not uncommon to you, but I think the meanings will be giving you some new insights. This is Metta Sutta. In some places, the sutta has been named as Karaniya Metta Sutta, right? So we don't have to worry about the names because most of the names were given by the senior Sangha. When the words of the Buddha were compiled into text, not text, I would say collections. It was textualized in Sri Lanka a long time after. So they were actually collected for the oral traditions. So anyways, Metta Sutta or Karani Metta Sutta. So the other important thing about this sutta is that this sutta is the last sutta in the Kuddaka part. Now, I think I would like to show you probably how it works, because then you have a sort of an understanding about Kuddaka part. All right. So we started off our online PAL reading class from the Kuddaka part. What is Kuddaka part? Okay, here is Sutta Pitaka. Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, Samyutta Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, Kuddaka. Long discourses, middle length, linked discourses, suttas that were actually given to specific individuals and also specific Dhamma matters. And then suttas that were given in a number, like numbered orders. And then this is the Kuddaka Nikaya. All the rest were actually given to Kuddaka Nikaya. So we chose the Pali Kuddaka Nikaya. Here you can see. Under the Kuddaka Nikaya, there are 15 books. As you can see. The number of the books for Kuddaka Nikaya varies from Thailand to Sri Lanka. The Thai canon, they have some other books added to the Kuddaka Nikaya. Burmese canon, they have some other books added to the Kuddaka Nikaya. Sri Lankan canon, this is what we are believing, has 15 books. So this is the first book under the Kuddaka Nikaya, which we understand by Kuddaka parts and basic passages. Click on that. Now here you can see every lesson that we did from June, if I'm not mistaken, June 1st. See, we started off from Saranataya, first lesson, first day. Dasasikkapada is the one we discuss and learn next. And then Bhaktin Sakara. Here is an interesting point. We learned about the 32 body parts, right? But Satipatthana Sutta only mentions 31 body parts. But Kuddaka Pada has 32 body parts. What is missing?
Brain, Bhante.
Mattalunga, right? Now, that itself shows, Kuddaka Pada's version of 32 body parts, was revised at a certain point. Anyways. And then Kumara Panya. These were some questions posed by the Buddha for some Samaneras to become Pasampada. Then Mangala Sutta we studied, Ratana Sutta, Tirokutta Sutta. Nidikanda Sutta is the one that we finished last Thursday. Today is the last section of this Kuddaka part, Metta Sutta. So then we are able to get into the next book of the Kuddaka Nikaya, which is Dhammapada. What Dhammapada? It goes up all the books. All right. So lesson 32, Metta Sutta. We had to translate this Pali word first and then go to the first stanza, because I choose one stanza. One stanza has a lot of things to discuss, so not just how we studied in the Nidikanda Sutta, like picking up two stanzas. You might feel like, oh, I know, I everyday chant, right? But we're going to be learning some specific teachings about stanzas of Metta Sutta. All right, first of all, before I let you recite, what does Metta mean? Metta? Metta?
Loving kindness, Bhante.
Now, different people have translated differently, but we would like to look at it mostly from a Pali
Friendliness.
early Nikaya perspective. Now, the translation that is very popular, which is loving kindness, is a hybrid term, which you see kindness as a part of this Metta's translation. But we know the practical way of the practical side of compassion is kindness. You don't say that I did some compassion at work today, right? You say I was kind to people. Everyday kindness, right? Isn't it? Like when you say about compassion, you say you put that into kindness. You don't say you are very compassionate. So you are very kind. So the kindness is the practical version of compassion. All right. So then why that kindness, which is a part of compassion, karuna, has been added to the translation of metta? Is metta karuna? Because metta is a different one, karuna is a different state of mind. So I think this looks like a poor translation. Another translation is benevolence, also friendliness. There are many other translations. We don't have to worry about these translations. So we have to look at from the Pali context. So metta in the Pali text, if you look at many suttas, you have to look at many suttas, not only one sutta, not even the Metta Sutta, but also suttas like Velama, Metta Anisansa, Mitta Anisansa, Attakanagara, right? Attakanagara is an interesting sutta actually. I'll be having a sutta study very soon for a center of decradle. Attakanagara, which has, I would say, how does the Brahma Vihara concept lead to Nibbana, Cheto Vimukti? So it is not even the what you call Samatha Vipassana style that will take you to Nibbana. Also, Brahma Viharas take you to Nibbana. So if you look at the larger, broader version of Metta, you could say that this seems to be an unlimited practice, unlimited, infinite practice. It is infinite. And then, of course, a hybrid translation such as loving kindness might not work, looking at the larger, broader context. It could be friendliness, because you are not going to give love towards somebody who you don't have a, I would say, relatedness at that point. So I would say friendliness. This is unlimited friendliness, unlimited. So you have to say that this and that. On the other hand, as you can see, this unlimited friendliness can be understood in a very practical example. Now, have you seen people who are always, trouble finding a good friend? Perhaps for the reason that they don't know how to make friends. That's why the Buddha was asked by one yakka, Alavaka yakka, Bhante, Katang Mittani Gantati, how to make friends. This was a question nobody answered him, right? And the Buddha said, Dadang Mittani Gantati. If you are a generous person, you will get friends initially. Then you will find out who is the Kalyana Mitta. But initially, if you are not generous enough, if you are not giving a good smile, if you are not talking properly, right, then you are not making friends, right? So on a practical level, what we understand is the person who can really truly practice metta is somebody who can be friendly with anybody, anytime, anywhere. That is the whole idea of metta. That means, let's say you go to a restaurant somewhere, you are able to make a good connection. I mean, you don't have to go too much. I mean, you are okay. You know how to survive in that place. You know how to work with those people, right? So you are able to initially interact, I would say, interact with anybody, anywhere. So that is the basic level of this metta. You might think this could be a mantra, like you might lock the door and then close and lock the door, and then you might keep thinking about number of people in the eastern direction. May people in the eastern direction be well and happy. But the true metta arises when you are able to interact with everybody in a wholesome, in a good way, right? That is very important. So from that basic level, you would see how the metta is pervading, radiating to further higher levels. So we will be studying under Metta Sutta. Let me tell you something at the beginning. Metta Sutta has two things to learn. Once the first section, first couple of verses, probably the first 3 verses speak about how to practice 15 skillful habits. Call them habits. They are not qualities, they are habits. Because when you say someone is good, it is because that person has been forming good habits over some time. All right, that is up to our discussion later. And then let's see what else. Yeah, okay, metta means friendliness, but that friendliness is infinite, I would say unlimited. All right, getting on to the text, the first stanza. I think you might have been chanting. Let me recite. Karaniya matta kusalena yantang santang padang abhisamech sakho uju cha suju cha suacho chassa mudu anatima. Actually, I have to remove this upper bar here. Suacho, let me do that. Translate wrong the actual. Put a suacho, not suacho, suacho. Right. Here we go. Suacho chassa mudu anatima. All right. Groups. Group 1. Anybody from group 1? Group 1. Yes. Yes. And so, yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes. Yeah.
Karaniya matta kusalena yantang santang padang abhisamicca sakko ujuca sujuca suwaco cassa mudu anatimani.
Okay. Right.
Thank you.
Someone from group 2?
Sorry?
Yes, Kim, are you going to recite? Group 2?
Yes, Bhante.
Yes, please.
Karaniyamata kusalena. Yatang satang padang abhisamacha. Sako uju cha suju cha suwako chasa mudu anati mani.
This word?
Suwako.
It's not
Suwako.
suako. If you say ko, then it has to be K.
Suwacho.
It's like
Suwacho.
somebody pronounced my name Chandima, not Chandima. Chandima. His C means Chandima. So suacho. Suacho.
Suwacho chasa mudu anati mani.
Yeah, Suvacho Chasamudu
Thank you.
Anatima. Interesting. Yeah. Then group 3. Yes, Billy.
Good evening, Bhante.
Yes, good evening.
Karaniya Mata Kusalena. Yantang Santang Padang Yantang Santang Padang Abisamecha. Sako Ujucha Sujucha. Subacho Chasa Mudu Anatimani.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes, KBO.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
Karaniya Mata Kusalena. Yantang Santang Padang Abisamecha. Sako Uju Cha Suju Cha. Suwachos Chasa Mudu Anatimani.
Great.
Thank you.
And someone from group 5. Yes, Melinda.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
Karaniyam Mattakusalena. Yam tam santam padam abisamecha. Sako ujo cha sujo cha. Suwajo jasamudu anadimani.
Can you repeat the last line, please?
Suwajo jasa mudu anadimani.
It has to be Suvacho Chasa, not just Chasa.
Suwajo jasa
Chasa Mudu Anatima.
jasa mudu anadimani.
Great.
Thank you.
And then group 6. Yes, Visita. Yes, Visita. Please unmute yourself.
Karaniya Matta Kusalena Yantang Santang Padang Apisamecha Sako Uju Cha Suju Cha Subacho Chasa Mudu Anatimani.
Sako
Uju Cha Suju Cha
Sujucha.
Suju Cha
Suvacho.
Subacho Chasa Mudu Anatimani.
Great.
Thank you.
Group 7. Yeah, then from group 7. Group 7. Who are in group 7? Find out. Do we have Shirley today? We don't. All right. Then group 8. Group 8 should have a lot of people. Yes, Doris. Right.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
Karaniya Mata Kusalena Yantang Santang Padang Abisamecha. Tako Uju Cha Suju Cha Suwacho Chasa Mudu Anatimani.
Great. All right.
Thank-
I'm letting other
Thank you,
people
Bhante.
to now decide. If you want, please raise your hand. Yes, Mayoy, please.
Karaniya Mata Kusalena Yangtam Santam Padam Abisamecha Sako Uju Jasu Juja Suwacho Jasa Mudu Anatimani.
Great. And
Thank
then Oi.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
Karaniya Mata Kusalena Yantang Santang Padang Abisamecha Sako Uju Cha Suju Cha Suwacho Chasa Mudu Anatimani.
Great. We have Dim Sum.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes, yes.
Karaniyata kusalena yatam santam padang abhisamecha sako ujucha sujucha suvacho chasa mudu anatimani.
Great. We have
Thank you.
Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening.
Karaniya mata kusalena yantam santam padam abisa mecha. Sako uju cha suju cha suwacho chasa mudu anatimani.
Great. And Chupen.
Thank you, Bhante. Karaniya mata kusalena yantang santang padang amisa mecha. Sako ujucha sujucha suwacho chasa mudu anatimani.
Great. And we have Seri.
Thank you, Bhante. Karaniya mata kusalena yantang santang padang apisamecha. Saku uju suju suvacho chasa mudu anatimani.
Great. And
Thank you.
Supen.
Karaniya mata kusalena yantang santang padang abisamecha sako uju cha suju cha swacho chasa mudu anatimani.
Great. Yes. And who else? Yes, Lim. Yes.
Karaniya mata kusalena yantang santang padang abhisamecha sako uju cha suuju cha suwacho chasa mudu anatimani.
Great. Great, Sherry. And then Chan.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
Karaniya mata kusalena yantang santang padang abisamecha sako ujucha sujucha suwacho chasa mudu anatimani.
Okay, great. Anybody else? I think that you must be chanting this sutta every day. Probably every morning or every evening. Right? Anybody else? All right. You don't have others, so we will be going on to the context. Right. First of all, we're going to be learning this word. Okay, these two words. All right. What is karaniya? Karaniya. Karaniya. Aniya. The word is, the Pali word here is ani. I'm going to make it something like this. Ani. See here. So, ani, the Pali aniya seems, it is something like imperative. It is, you are expected to do something. Now, who is you actually in this context? Atta kusalein. Atta kusali. Atta kusali. Now, here we have to understand the Pali word called kusala. This is an interesting word. Kusala. What does kusala mean? Does kusala carry some multiple meanings? Might find out punya too. That's another context. But what does kusala mean? Kusala.
Wholesome, Bhante. Wholesome.
Wholesome. Right?
Beautiful.
Goodness.
Okay. Kusala.
Good action.
Good.
Action or virtue.
Now, the word good carries a lot of meanings too. It's a loaded word, right? What is good for us is not good for others. What is good for other religious people, it might not be good for us. So we have to be kind of specific about our context. So here, I would say we have to find out the Pali context, kusala. Now, one probable meaning is wholesome, but we have to learn more about this holistic, wholesome, context about the Pali word called kusala.
Good action, good merit, virtue.
Anybody else? Any other thoughts? In Buddhism, it is said that every, I would say, holistic activity, wholesome activity is a skill. Those who have not been able to do such wholesome activities have not mastered, have not developed certain skills. So, I mean, doing a good activity, I would say doing a kusala is a skill. So that means when you are practicing any virtue, maybe dana, generosity, maybe sila, virtue, it may be probably maybe meditation, maybe respect, maybe metta, karuna, mudita, upekka. All these virtues can be practiced, can be developed only by someone who has enough ability, capacity to engage in those activities. So no, you might take it technically as a skill, so every good thing happens, every wholesome thing happens, can be executed by a skillful person. So whenever you are, every time you are doing a dana or sila or any other good activity, you have to look at the kusala aspect of that activity, right? You might go to the temple, you might go to the vihara, you might give something to somebody, maybe sangha. You might see, you might be happy with the physical activity. I offer dana, I practice sila, I develop some meditation practices, right? But here, the kusala part of that activity is whether you have been able to do them by withdrawing yourself from lobha dosa moha initially. So it is not very visible. It is you only know how you did that particular activity, right? So every wholesome activity in the Buddhist texts is called as a skill. Now here, the Buddha is trying to tell us that in order for someone to practice metta, in order for someone to practice metta, who is also trying to attain nibbana one day, should develop 15 skillful habits. So, I mean, in addition to the 10 kusala activities, one should practice 15 skillful habits. Now, when you say, Bhante, I cannot practice loving kindness in a own word, loving kindness meditation, metta, I always think about people who did something wrong to me. I have some, I would say, resentment towards certain people in my family, relatives, friends. So I cannot let them go. Always what is happening is that they are growing, in the loop. So what to do? That's why the Buddha said, just because you just sit down and say the mantras, prayers, may I be well, happy, this is not going to go. So the Buddha said you must practice 15 skillful habits as prerequisites before you get into this unlimited friendliness. So Atta Kusalena means now Buddha assumes the person who is going to practice the metta meditation, the metta, is someone who is going to be, I would say, developing certain skills, 15 skillful habits, along with the purpose of attaining Nibbana. Atta Kusala means that If we go to further commentaries, we see that Atta Kusala means someone who is trying not to get caught up with four issues. Sila Vipatti, someone who is actually trying to keep his or her sila, and also someone who is trying to keep his or her ditti, the views, right views, and achara, someone who is trying to keep his or her moral values, and ajiva, someone who is trying to spend a right living without cheating other people. So this is another meaning of Atta Kusala. But that's a commentarial expression about Atta Kusala. But we take Atta Kusala to be somebody who has a clear plan that I would be trying to attain Nibbana one day. At the same time, I need to practice 15 skillful habits as prerequisites before I start on my Metta meditation, Metta practice. Have you ever heard that you need to practice some prerequisites before you start your Metta practice? Or did everybody tell you you can directly go to the Metta? Then you learn something contextual today. This is why I say you might read Metta Sutta 100 times, million times, but you never know what is given exact in the context. So the Buddha says in the first 3 stanzas, there are 15 skillful habits you must cultivate before you formally start your Metta practice. So these 15 skillful habits can be practiced over the time. It might take time, but as you practice them, you are smoothly, you are seamlessly, continuously, consistently tapping onto the Metta. Right now, we are today finding certain few skillful habits. Then he says, Karaniya means should be done. Atta Kusala means the person who is potentially skillful. Potentially skillful. Potentially skillful means, I would say, 10 Kusala activities. Somebody who is already on 10 Kusala activities. Now, let me ask you, what are the 10 Kusala activities? They are Kusala activities. We call them Dasa Kusala. Someone who has been practicing Dasa Kusala now is going to practice 15 skillful habits. Can somebody tell me what are the 10 Kusalas?
Generosity, okay.
Generosity.
Sila.
No, I think that is a different list.
Dana, Sila, Bhavana,
That's
Apachayana,
what we call by
Deya,
Punya
Vacha.
Kiri. They are 10 Punya Kiriyas. They are not the 10
Dana.
Kusalas, which the Buddha talks in the Salayaka Sutta. Salayaka Sutta. Let's go to the Salayaka Sutta.
Dana, Sila, Bhavana, Apachayana, Deya, Vacha.
Salayaka Sutta.
Patana, Modana, Dhamma Savana, Dhamma Desana, Dittiju Kamma. Dittiju Kamma.
Now you can see unskillful bodily action, unskillful verbal action, unskillful mental action. You can see now, starting from unskillful bodily action. All right, you see, yeah, not killing, not stealing, and not having sensual misconduct. And then here, what you see is not lying, not engage in the divisive speech, not engage in the abusive speech, Parsavacha, not becoming a gossip or idle chatter. And then for the mind section, not having, I would say, covetousness, yes, covetous, and not having ill will, not having mixality. So this sutta, the Salayaka Sutta Madhyamaka 41, properly introduces, along with many other suttas, that the 10 Kusalas are the most important aspects of our skillful activities. Now you might think about maybe my precepts. No, precepts are training stuff. It trains you. It trains you to practice 10 Kusalas. They are just prepare you to practice 10 Kusala. 10 Kusala is our desideratum, our plan, our desired choice is 10 Kusalas. That means you should be able to practice 10 Kusalas. One day through your Sila practice. So 10 kusala means, I think we can understand again, not killing, not stealing, not misbehaving. So there are 3 kusala activities for the body. Then not lying, not slandering, not using harsh speech, and not becoming an idle chatter or a gossiper. 4. There are 4 kusala activities for the speech. Then for the mind trick, not having covetousness, that means extreme greed, and not having ill will, avyapada, and not having wrong will. Now you might see that if you look at the numbers of the kusala, you see that there are four things given to the speech. That means people make a lot of mistakes, bad karmas with their speech. Right? So we have to be careful about the speech. That's why it becomes 4, right? Because yes, people do bad activities, bad actions, but compared to the speech, more speech-based actions are happening. So now this Atta Kusala is somebody who is already has been practicing these 10 kusalas, now going to practice 15 skillful activities because he or she is now getting ready to practice Metta one day. That is the plan. All right, Yantang Santang Padanga. This is his plan, her plan, because he or she is practicing 10 kusalas and now tentatively going to practice the 15 skillful habits later on because he or she wants to attain Santang Padang. Santang means the peaceful state. What does peaceful state mean? What does peaceful state to us in Buddhism? Nibbana. Our peaceful state is Nibbana, right? That is the plan. Then, now the Buddha starts explaining the skillful habits. You know, he introduces a couple skillful habits. Sakko is 1, Uju is 2nd, Suju the 3rd, Suacho is the 4th, Mudu is the 5th, Anatimani is so 6 out of 15 given in the first stanza. Right? Going to erase. All right. Sakko, Uju, Suju, Suacho, Mudu, Anatimani. Chassa is a future, like would be, yeah. This person would be practicing or will be practicing the rest. Chassa, so it's not very important here. So we'll start from Sakko. What does Sakko mean? Sakko?
Bhante, is it able?
Able.
Able. Oh?
Capable.
Huh?
Able to do. Capable
Able to do
of
what?
good actions, to be upright, to be straight.
All right. Have you ever found out this Pali word from a proper name, probably an epithet given to somebody in Buddhism? Sakko as a what do you call a word you understand, an ability, a skill, talented. But on the other hand, you might have heard about Sakko, Sakka. Who's Sakka? The head god. Indra, another name for Indra. Indra means the head god in the south in heaven. Right? Sakka. Sakko, Sakka. Now why or how did the man called Magamana in our story called Maga become a Sakka? It is said that the Sakka at the Buddha's time, that Sakka, they are changing all the time. Sakka became Sakka because he practiced dana in a very interesting way. Sakkachang danandatva sakko. That is why he became Sakka. Sakkachang danandatva sakko. What is Sakkachang? Now, this Sakkachang has been mentioned in many Pali Suttas in Samyutta Nikaya. The Buddha says when you offer dana, you have to be concerned about a couple of things. One thing is Sakkachang. you have to offer dana in the proper way. In the proper way means you are going to concern about what the Sangha or whoever going to consume. Now, there are two things you might think about. Oh, I only have this, I'm going to give this to somebody. I cannot think about other things. This is what I can afford. But there would be somebody who wants to inquire, what do you really like to eat? Right? Going for that kind of a choice. Subtext. Or probably concerned about the choices of the recipient. Okay? So then the recipient might be happy. There may be some certain things you might need to be concerned too. So Sakkacha means you are concerned about the best offering to the recipient. You might say, oh, the Buddha said 3 donors, 3 dayakas. When somebody offers dana to the Sangha or whoever, there are 3 types of dayakas. I think I already shared with you a long time ago. Can you remember who they are? You might be falling into one of them. The first one is Dana Dasa. Dana Dasa. Maybe I could write them. Yeah. Dana Dasa. Dana Dasa. Second one is Dana Dasa, Dana Sahaya. The third dayaka is Dana Pati. So we can put like this. First one, second one, third one. So who are these donors, dayakas? Dana Dasa. Dana Dasa means there is a devotee, or I wouldn't say a devotee, there is somebody who offers things to somebody, Sangha or whoever, not in the way how she or he eats, little lower than what he or she consumes. Right? That particular person eats, drinks in a certain way, but when it comes to offering, he or she thinks, no, I don't want to do the same way how I eat. I'm going to do a little lower than how I eat. Not even to Sangha, but also to somebody else. That is Dana Dasa. If there is somebody like that, we call it Dana Dasa. Then Dana Sahayaka means there's another individual, maybe a devotee or whoever, who thinks that I am going to offer something exactly the same way how I eat. The same food, what I eat. At the time, she or he can afford more, but only gives what she or he. Because thinking, I don't want to give more. This person is called Dana Sahaya. And there is another person called Dana Pati. Dana Pati means the master of Dana. Pati means master. This person thinks always, maybe I can hardly afford. Can afford or hardly afford. But when I want to give Dana, I have to give in the best way possible. That is how I will get what I want in my life. Now, there are things a lot of people expect in their life that they don't get them. Why then? Why is that? You have not fulfilled other people's wishes in your past lives. There are other people who only wishes things are happening right away. Why? It is because you have been helping, supporting other people's wishes. Right? I mean, you have to be careful when you do that. But if you know the Sangha, if you know somebody else, but you are doing it in the best way possible. You don't have to be somebody who is having a lot of debt by doing so. But if you can afford, you are going to do like that. Right? Otherwise, there is no such thing that, hey, karma, come to me in the best way possible. Karma will not come to you in the best way possible. Karma will come to you only if you had done it in the past life. Only if you have done at least to a certain extent in this life. Because you must have helped somebody's wishes come true. Then your wishes will come true too. Right? So anyways, now here, when you say Sakkachang Danam Datva Sakko, the word Sakka means a master of actions. That means if it is dana, if it is sila, if it is bhavana, if it is any other action, that person is going to be very much talented about that particular activity. Right? Trying to master the required skills for that activity. That is called Sakka. That's an interesting thing to learn. Sakko, the first skillful habit. Actually, if you don't master each virtue in your life, you would not be able to make it a habit, right? Let's say you go to the temple, you just offer, you come back, you don't care about what is going on in your mind, right? You don't care about whether they eat or not, whether they like or not. You just go and then serve and come back. So that is not Sakko, but better than nothing. But Sakko means you are concerned. Are these food really good for them? You are looking at their health. You are not even Sangha. Maybe you are going to do something to somebody, offer, buy something for somebody. This is really going to be helpful to that person, right? You are concerned about their thoughts about it. I mean, so then you are mastering that dana. Let's take Sila. How do we master Sila? Can you practice a good Sila in 1 day, 2 days? It takes long time, right? Sila means a good discipline. So you need to master that Sila. So when you master it, at a certain stage of your life, you will feel that now Sila has become a skill in me. Sila is a skill to me now, not just a boring practice, like a boring, dry practice that how I got into this. It has become a skill. Dana, I feel Dana has been a skill in my practice, not anymore kind of a traditional cultural practice like any other devotees go to the temple and do it. It has become a skill in meditation. I feel now meditation, because I've been practicing it, it has become a skill. I can hold meditation in my practice is a skill. What else? Dana, Sila, Bhavana, and all the other rest of the minor, major virtues I have transformed them into, I have made them as skills in my life. This is something we have to master them over the time, right? Let's say you are someone who has been listening to Dhamma talks. You are merely wasting your time without properly learning. You only listen to Dhamma talk because it is good, because it is good. But you are merely listening to them. You are not learning. You are not thinking how I can integrate these Dhamma talks in my practice, if they are really making sense to me. Right? Then listening to Dhamma talk will become skill in your. Otherwise, you are just any other traditional cultural person who is doing that just for the notion that they are good. Right? So in that way, Sakko means a talent, a skill in which you are bringing your, what you call, different spiritual practices onto that particular level. Sakko. Then the second one is called Uju. Uju. That's an interesting. Now you might see Uju, Suju. It looks to us that they are similar. Is there a difference, or are they same? Are they similar? Now the English translations have plagued the meaning. Some people say straight and more straight. What is that? Straight and more straight. Upright and more upright. What is that? You have to look at the Pali context. The Pali context clearly says, no, there's a difference. These are two words. Uju means kaya vachi vankappahani. That means you have integrity in terms of your bodily actions and your verbal actions, your body and speech. You are having integrity in your body and your speech. Suju means then what is left? Mind. Your mental activities are not crooked. They are integrated. So Uju means that your activities that you are doing with your body and speech, they are really honest. That whatever your actions you are doing with your speech and body, they are really honest. You are really honest in those actions and speeches. But Suju means your thoughts. Whatever your thoughts, your intentions, your mental part is honest. So Uju, Suju, they represent two aspects. Any questions? I would like to know whether you have any questions so far. Now we have been discussing Sakko, Uju, Suju. Uju, Suju have not yet been elaborated much, but I gave you the definition. Uju means the honesty that comes from bodily actions and verbal actions. Suju means the honesty that comes from the mental actions. And we can discuss that actually. Any questions so far? Not yet. All right. Now, have you ever seen this in other places, this Pali word Uju? Where have you found this Pali word? I hope I'm not going to embarrass you by saying a place that you might have found. You may have found it. Uju?
Sangha
The
Vandana.
salutation to the Sangha.
Sangha Vandana. How do we know that? How do we say it? Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangha. Uju Patipanno Bhagavato Savaka. Uju Patipanno. Uju. That means the Sangha has entered onto a path where they have honesty with their bodily actions and their verbal actions. Uju. Now, in the Girimananda Sutta, in Satipatthana Sutta, in many other suttas, when they talk about Anapanasati, there also we find out the word called Uju. How do we find that? When you are going to practice Anapanasati breath meditation, then the Buddha says how to practice breath meditation, especially your physical requirement. Do you find this Pali word Uju in there? In that place?
Yes.
How?
They
How
say
and when?
ujung kayung.
Ujung
The
kayam
upright.
panidaya. Ujung kayam panidaya parimukang sating upattapetva. So satu asasati, satu pasasati. Digang va asasantu, digang asasami di bhajana. Digang va pasasantu, digang pas. So and so forth. The Buddha says, if you really want to practice breath meditation, you must keep your back straight. That is physical uprightness, physical integrity. But here the Metta Sutta talks about, Sangha Vandana talks about not that physical upright. Here it talks, because there is no physical honesty, right? The honesty comes from bodily actions and verbal actions and also mental actions. So here, Sakko means that you have mastered certain virtues in your Dhamma practice to a level of skill, right? They are not just initial actions to you anymore. You know that you've been mastering. You're not being only giving dana one day. You've been trying to give dana every day in the best way possible. You might not go to Vihar, but you might be generous in whatever the possible is. You might be practicing Sila, but to you, there are not any more rules. Buddhism has no rules. It's also a mistranslation. It's a training rule. The Buddha said this is a training, sikkha, not a rule. Right? 5 precepts are training. We train us. Right? It's not a rule. You, what do you call? Self-train. Right? Even the Sangha gives you a precept, whoever gives you, you are the one who is doing that. So if you are not honest about you, your actions, your thoughts, your speech, then things are not happening in the way. So then when you practice Sila as a discipline, you know it is not anymore just 8 precepts. It is not just anymore 5 precepts. It is not just anymore 10 precepts. The Sila has been a skill in my life now. I feel that I'm always disciplined. If my mind gets distracted, I can reinstate my mind back to my skill. So that is different aspects of your Sila. That's probably one. Sorry for the time. So if you even take meditation, it's a very good concept. How can you know that you have mastered? You feel that meditation has become a skill in your life. You feel that you are not anymore feeling what you call bored. You are not feeling dry in your practice. You feel that something is flowing. So you have this is something. You can take any other words. Uju means then. What does uju mean? I already explained you. Uju?
Integrity in your body and speech. That means
Integrity, or I would say honesty. Honesty in terms of your body and speech. Let's say like that. Easy to understand. Then what is the honesty of your body? What is the honesty about your speech? How do we know that? How do we explain that? Honesty about our body means honesty about the three kusalas that I do in terms of my body. Not killing, not stealing, not misbehaving. So I'm very honest about my actions. That is one part of Uju. Second part of Uju means honesty about my speech. That means I'm not supposed to lie. I'm not supposed to slander or talk behind the back, do the divisive speech. And I'm not going to hurt other people with my words. And I'm not going to become an idle chatter or a gossiper. So in case I make a mistake, it can happen, right? Although we know these are bad, it can happen because if you are not mindful, you might lie. You might divide other people, isn't it? You might know Dhamma, but if you don't bring mindfulness to, I would say, sati onto each moment, you might still make the mistake. Right? That is why we need to train us all the time. Bring sati to all events. We might know in the back of it, but it is not working in the situation. So we bring in that understanding with sati. I always say sati is a negotiator in a hostage situation. You are being captivated by some thieves, terrorists. You are captivated, you are in hostage. And sati is the negotiator. How to get out of this place from these hostage people. So, say for instance, you are struggling with anger, you are struggling with jealousy, you are struggling with frustration, sadness, grief. That is your hostage situation. Who are keeping you like that? Your own bad emotions, your own negative emotions. So you have to bring sati to negotiate and then to get out of that. Right? So, in terms of speech, yes, we understand we are humans. Unless you have attained certain stages of your spiritual attainments, we are still highly likely to make mistakes. We might tell a lie. Probably it's not very full-fledged version of the lie, but maybe in a way that is not true. Even you share things that you don't know on Facebook. I think it's a false speech. Like people share things that they don't know. So the people who trust you also share the same thing, isn't it? They also share what you shared because they trust you. And finally, what you shared was not verified by the required authority. So you have given lots of false information to the hands of many. And also slandering. Sometimes people tell things to us. This person like this, that person like this, he said like, but we have to carefully listen. We have to bring sati sampajan. Don't just believe what anybody tells us. Once you believe, right, then what will happen? You are going to bring a lot of stories. You having an inner conflict within. Probably it's not true, right? So we are not going to believe things just because somebody says to us. We might hear, we have respect for that person too. So we are, carefully, mindfully looking into the information. And also, very importantly, harsh speech. Harsh speech means the words, even the topics that you are engaging in a conversation. Let's say you are meeting people in your household, in your home, in your house, or maybe in a workplace, in a function, but you don't know what to talk about. So everything that you talk might be very offensive to them. So you have to be very careful what I'm going to talk. I always tell you, reflect, reflect, reflect. Reflect before you think, reflect during you think, reflect after you think. Reflect before you talk, reflect during you talk, reflect after you talk. Reflect before you act, reflect during you act, reflect after. So I think this is the launch pad. This is the best way to be careful. There are people who say things, oh, I'm so sorry, I said. They haven't thought about it. Finally, they apologize to people. It's good. They don't think about it. They don't think too much. So now we understand even the gossiping. What is gossiping and idle chatting? So we are not wasting other people's time. Whatever you might see this as a part of socialization, but we are trying to be using speech beneficially, meaningfully, and then probably helping somebody's good life, wholesome life. So when it comes to uju, now you understand this is the honesty of both bodily actions and speech. So what is honesty then? If you make a mistake, if you kill, if you steal, if you misbehave, if you lie, if you slander, if you hurt someone, if you gossip or idle chat, please accept that you did it. That is honesty. You have to accept. You have to accept first within you, and then if necessary, you might apologize and you will do a reflection, that I'm not going to do it again. That is uju. So do you think this is important for your metta practice? Yes, you need it. Otherwise, how are you going to practice metta? You have heard many people over there. Now you are thinking, may everybody be well, happy, peaceful. Can they be well and happy? You have not mastered this uju path. That be honest, you have to sincerely accept that you made those mistakes, or probably you done it purposely, right? Uju. Then suju, what was left here was the mental part. Does anyone know what you thought? Do we know what other people think? Only if we have telepathy, parachitta vijnana. There's a certain knowledge called telepathy, parachitta vijnana, or cheto pariyaya. That means if you have a certain jhana practice, you will get that. So if anybody here has that telepathy or cheto pariyaya, will the other be very scared of that person? Yes. Oh, this person is knowing everything what I think. Yes, cheto pariyaya. The Buddha has that. And others, certain people who have practiced jhanas, they have it. Right? So then we have to bring honesty to our thoughts also. How we can bring honesty to our thoughts? That is called suju, suju. How to bring them? Let me ask you, what do you think about our thoughts that are happening on a day? Now, say for instance, today, Thursday, January 11th, since you wake up today morning, up until now, maybe before this was started, what do you think? What is the ratio between the wholesome, unwholesome thoughts you've been having? Which is more? Is wholesome thoughts, are wholesome thoughts more than the unwholesome? Or are unwholesome thoughts more than the wholesome thoughts if you look at the hours you've been spending today? Are lobha dosa moha more or alobha dosa moha more? If you look at today, you have to be honest. Otherwise, you don't have suju. Huh? You must be honest. Suju means I am honest about my thoughts. Uju means I'm honest about my actions. I'm honest about my speech. Suju, I'm honest about my thoughts. Actually, most of the thoughts we've been having are unwholesome. Yes. But we try to transform them into a wholesome side. But the raw thoughts are unwholesome. It is not our problem. Maybe it is our problem in a certain way because we may not have practiced satipatthanas to a certain level so that we are able to, abort, but we are able to stop them appearing. But one thing is that this is the, evolutionary way that how beings have been, evolving. But I have a good news for you. This is from Abhidhamma. That's why this is interesting sometime to learn some elements of Abhidhamma. Now, are you very worried if I say just now that most of the thoughts that many people are having on a day seem to be unwholesome? I think you are worried. Definitely. We shall be worried, right? We don't know what you are thinking, but I, according to some reading of the Dhamma, that most of the growth words are unwholesome. But the good news that we learn from Abhidhamma is that whenever an akusala thought arises, there are four other akusala thoughts arise simultaneously. That means when you have one akusala, you are having four other akusala, altogether 5 akusalas. When you have akusala, you are having 5 akusala thoughts. Interesting, huh? Let's say you have a lobha now. You have a greed about somebody or something. Once you have the greed, that greed arises through another 4 akusalas. Lobha, ahirika, anuttappa, uddhacca. We call them, Lobha, ahirika, anuttappa, uddhacca. That means, moha, ahirika, anuttappa, uddhacca. Moha. So because I have moha, that lobha arose. And then because I have no moral fear, moral, shame, that lobha arose. Ahirika, anuttama. Because I have no moral fear, that lobha arose. Because my mind was restless, that lobha arose. Actually, they are very common. Each time when you're coming up with an akusala thought, definitely there is moha. That's why it came. Also, you don't have moral fear and moral shame. If you consider them, you don't create that lobha or dosa. Also, your mind should be distracted. If your mind is concentrated, akusalas are not coming out. So, these moha, ahirika, anuttappa, uddhacca, along with that particular akusala state. So, 5 akusalas are arising whenever you have one akusala. Now, should we be scared about akusala? What will happen to our karma, vipakas now? The good news still on the way. The good news is that now think about a good karma. Let's say you are sincerely wishing that you want to give dana, you want to transfer good karmas to the departed ones. You really want to practice sila. Once you have that, let's take one small kusala thought, dana thought. Once you have that particular dana thought, there are 19 other kusala thoughts supporting that particular kusala. That means whenever you have a one kusala thought, alobha, adosa, amoha, there are 19 waiting to arise simultaneously with that kusala thought. That means you are having 20 kusala thoughts with one kusala thought. That is why you don't have to be surprised looking at the people's life. Every day they having lots of akusalas, but how come they are going to be reborn as humans again? Because that one kusala is more powerful than one akusala. Now don't take it for granted. Huh? There will be some people think, I can do akusala because whenever I do kusala, I create 20 kusalas. Don't take it for granted. But this is how it works according to Abhidhamma. Right? Because kusala has an enormous power. All right. So coming back to Suju, honesty about your mental actions, thoughts. How can we be honest? We have to learn from the Buddha. This example has to be learned from the Buddha. The Buddha has a particular quality where he does not make even an akusala, even secretly. Because he is not doing any akusala secretly, he is given a certain name, certain epithet. What is it? Now you have to go back to the 9 great qualities. I just made it simple. What is the Buddha's quality where, yes, somebody says Arahant. Yes, Arahant. Arahant. How do we know that? How is it mentioned?
Perfectly.
There's a Pali stanza for this to understand. The Buddha's qualities is Arahant. Arakatta hatatta cha kilesarina so hata sansara chakkaro pachayadina chara. Na rahu karoti papanya. This is the place. Na rahu karoti. Buddha never, definitely he's not supposed to, he will not. But Buddha never executes papa karma secretly. Na rahu. So Arakatta hatattacha. He uprooted, he cut down the diameter of the sansara. Arakatta hatacha. Kilesarana soma. All the upakilesas. Hatha sansara chakkaru pachya. That is why he is worthy of offerings from the Deva Manusa. And then Narahu karoti papan. He never makes a bad karma, even secretly. Secretly? No one knows. But he is very honest to himself. So we might not be that great, right? We have to accept that. But we have to learn, we have to do something. We have to try. Trying is not bad. It's no harm. So we try not to do any akusala even without telling other people. We are trying to practice lots of akusalas within that. Right? Another example is the Jataka story. What is the Jataka story? I can't remember the name. There's a Jataka story where the prince, what do you call the Bodhisattva, was a student who was sent to the Takasila. Takasila means the famous school at that time. Probably this is the Indian version of Oxbridge tradition, Takasila. The teacher was Disapamo. So one day, this teacher, actually now they have found out this place could be in Gandhara, Afghanistan, this area. So the teacher one day said to his students, all right, I want to check all of you. So I ask you to go back to your houses, steal something without letting your parents know, and bring that item back to the school. The first person to come like that, I will consider giving my daughter in a marriage. So the boys got really mad, right? Really crazy. So they jump out of the school, they went to their parents' houses, they stole certain things, they're trying to come back to the school. There's one boy, he's not very much swayed by this message. Then the teachers, I told you, you have to go to your house, steal something, come back. Without telling, without letting your parents know. Then he said, no, that's not possible. Then the teacher asked, why? You don't have to worry about this, huh? The boy said, the Bodhisattva, he said, the teacher, even you close the door in your house, you do certain things, but there are certain beings who are watching that over. And the teacher, who are they? Tree spirits, Rukkha Devata. They are watching over us. So we cannot steal secretly. Then he asked, can you explain to me about more things about these Rukkha Devata? The Rukkha Devata, we are calling them as a terrestrial Deva, Bhumma Deva. Akasattaja Bhummatta. Bhummatta is one Deva type, tree spirits. So that means even our actions are being monitored by, our all actions, speeches are monitored by the Rukkha Deva. They are not doing anything, but if you are really being honest, they are helping you. They are helping you because they are watching over the good people, right? But now don't worry about that for your personal activities. Somebody is watching me over. But he said that Rukkha Devas are watching us. When you close the door, lock the door, set up a lot of cameras, but they are watching. They can watch, right? Anyways, so the Buddha's quality of Arahant has the idea that he does not do akusala even secretly. So suju means we have to be honest about our thoughts. If you are very honest about your thoughts, you can practice meditation well. If you are not honest about your thoughts, you will never practice meditation other than just becoming a figurehead on a big retreat, You just sit down, but you are not able to practice meditation. You will certainly follow, but you are not able because you have to be honest about your thoughts. Because otherwise, this is going to be an inner conflict. All right, Sakko, Uju, Suju. Let's go to the next one. Suvacho, easy to speak to. There are two things to learn about Suvacho. One is that you are listening to someone who is wise, right? You are listening to someone who is wise on your side. On his or her side, he or she feels easy to talk to you. Interesting, huh? There are people who are claiming, yeah, I can't talk to him. He's not listening to me. Like very aggressive person. I can't talk. He doesn't listen. He might say, she might say something different. So this is the teacher version, I mean, wise person version. On the other side, the person's version, that you are opening. So the Buddha said, if you really want to practice metta, you should be able to become an active listener. Active listener, not a passive listener. You should give yourself, I mean, your attention to the wise person. And wise person should feel that, okay, I can easily talk to this person. Now, do you have friends like that when you think, I have friends, I can share anything with that person? I can share anything. You feel very good when you think about that feeling. I cannot share this with somebody, but I can share this with someone. You're very happy because you know that person can listen well, right? Sometimes your questions cannot be answered, but you simply want to share them. That person is just being silent, and you are happy about it. You're happy. Yes, you share. So, suvacho means two things. One thing is, please be open to the right person. At the same time, be yourself to somebody who, by whom a wise person can give an advice on. Suvacho. Then the next habit is mudu. Mudu means gentle. What does gentle mean? It's a skillful habit. How to become gentle? When I was teaching this for a group of, some Dhamma school students back in Canada, they said, probably, we have to make us gentle. Use a moisturizer. Physical gentleness.
Not harsh. Not harsh, not being harsh. Soft.
Soft in the way of how we operate function. Flexibility is one thing. So we can easily deal with a flexible person. Nowadays, people are looking for flexible hours, flexible people, flexible things. At the same time, we should not be so hard about certain things. There are people who are very hard about certain things. They are not opening up. They don't want to discuss with other people. They are not really giving enough space for other people. They're so hard on their perspective, their views, their other things, their physical activities, right? The Buddha said, for that kind of person, metta is a dream. Metta is very far from that kind of a person. You have to be gentle. Because when you are gentle, you will feel the gentleness of other people too, right? Softness, soft-heartedness, maybe, nowadays we are talking about soft skills, soft skill, not hard skills. Nowadays, smartness, soft skills, this smart stuff, they all come under softness. So this is mostly about your gentleness in your perspectives, your ideas, the way how you deal with other people, right? Now, let's take one example. There is a very difficult animal, a cat, maybe a dog who has been, I would say, abused by other people. You might be a very gentle, soft person, but even when you go over there, the cat dog give you the impression you are also going to abuse, right? Because of the past experience. But whenever you are gentle to the animal will understand, no, this person is somebody different, not like the previous ones. So the animal will feel that gentleness. In the same way, human beings, right? When they have been abused by others, when they had a lot of bad experiences, so you are not approaching them in the normal way. So you understand that you have to be soft, gentle in dealing with those people. Right? That softness is that is how you're going to make friends. You're going to make people. At that point, you may not have difficult people. You have easy people, right? Because you are bringing your softness to make connections, interactions with other people. That is one habit to create, get ready for the metta. Finally, anatimani, mana. That's what mana. This mana is an interesting word. We have a role model in our Dhamma teachings for anatimani. Who is our role model for Anatimani? The meaning here, Anatimani, what was the meaning? Humble. You know, because I always tell people you have to humbleize yourself. Humbleness is one of the top requirements in our Dhamma practice. Right? Not that you are going, I know this, I know this, I know everything, I know how to practice. That is not being humble. You're gonna learn more. You're gonna learn from others, learning together. This kind of practice comes from so much humbleness. So we have a role model in the suttas, in our Buddhist texts, about humbleness. Who is he?
Bhante, Sariputta.
Arahant Sariputta. Why we take him as a role model? He even listened to even the little monks, the 7 years old monk. One day saw that Arahant Sariputta's robe is drooping and touching them. And said, Bhante, I'm not the person who can tell this to you. I can see that your robe is touching the ground. Then he put sadhu 3 times. Tadahu pabbajito santo jatiya santanas. Even someone who became a monk today, Samanera, is to advise me something about my human errors, even I'm an Arahant, I'm going to accept them without no doubt. There's no hierarchy when it comes to learning. So such a humbleness, the second disciple, the first disciple after the Buddha, he is the one who is showing this humbleness. So why can't we practice? So we should bring a very much enormous level of humbleness so that we will learn a lot. If you are not humble enough, you will not smoothly practice the Dhamma. You will get stuck. You know Dhamma, but you cannot proceed. You feel that something is dry in your practice. Because if you want to open up for more Dhamma teachings, more transformation, you have to be humble every day. Right? So this is one of the greatest habits in which will make you onto the Metta one day. So Sakko, Uju, Suju, Suvacho, Mudu, Antima. So here we learn today 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 skillful habits. All right, any questions? Yes, sir.
Bhante, just now Bhante taught us about the 15 kusala habits. So the first about 10 habits actually is
10 are not habits, 10 are activities, kusala activities. They
kusala.
are not mentioned here. So when I explain Atta Kusala, I referred Atta Kusala to be somebody who has been practicing 10 Kusala activities. In addition to those 10 activities, now he or she is ready to practice Metta. In order for him to or her to practice Metta, he or she has to additionally practice 15 skillful habits. Make sense?
Actually,
and we learned 6 out of them.
I heard it's a 3, 4, 3 lah. So the 3 one is the bodily one, like no killing, no stealing, no
There are
adultery.
10 skillful activities. 10 Kusala karmas. 10 Kusala activities.
Yeah. I'm referring to that. Then the speech one is no lying, no slandering, no divisive speech, and no frivolous talk. And then the next one is no intoxication.
No. Intoxication is implied. It's not a part of it. It is Panchasila actually. I think you all have to understand the Buddhist practice is aiming to fulfill the 10 kusala karmas. 10 kusala karmas, 3 for the body, 4 for the speech, 3 for the mind. Not killing, not stealing, not misbehaving. They are for the body. Not lying, not slandering, not using harshful words, and then not becoming an idle chatter or gossiper. Those 4 are for the speech. Not being covetous. Covetous means extreme greed. Not having ill will. That means vyapada. Not having michhaditi. They are for the mind. So these 10 are our practice. When you say your practice, Buddhist practice, These are the practice, not the sila. Silas are training us to go there actually. A lot of people, they don't understand this. Now, when you say sila, I mean, you might take Panchasila or Attasila. They are bringing us to that larger practice. Now, you will see, you are going to train yourself through the Sila, but you are going to master those 10 kusala activities. You have to master them. By training yourself, you are entering onto those 10. This is what we understood by Atta Kusala, somebody who is doing so.
Bhante, Bhante just now spoke a bit too fast. So no covetousness, and then no ill will, and another one is what already?
No michadit.
No michaditi. Michaditi means
Michaditi means
wrong view. Wrong view.
Wrong view.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wrong view is the most serious akusala in Buddhism. The terrible akusala, because when you have wrong view, you will kill, you will steal, you will misbehave, you will do all the bad things because you have the wrong view. All right. Any other questions? Yes.
Bhante, this sutta starts with Karaniya Mata Kusalena, Yantang Santang Padang Abhisamecha. So it is for those who are skilled in wholesomeness.
It is for those who have been practicing 10 kusala activities more or less by this time.
So what about those who still have
been already practicing?
Then this Metta Sutta will not be applicable to those who have not practiced or not yet.
Yeah, it's not going to
reach
be
that level.
Not going to, that's why I'm saying this is a gradual practice. Metta is not a standalone practice like how people practice in the West and other places. It's a gradual practice. So that is why an initial practice of 10 kusala activities is a must. That is how somebody is making way onto the Metta. Buddhist Metta, their Metta might be different Metta. I don't know what Metta they are doing. Buddhist Metta, the Sutta's Metta is as such. Because our initial practice as a Buddhist is 10 kusala activities. 5% were not Buddhist things before. They were Hindu things, you know that? They were 5 precepts were practiced by the Hindu people. Buddha simply recommended them for lay people. But our greater practice is 10 kusala activities.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Any other questions for today? Yes, Anne? Yes.
Bhante, Anatimani means humble. Can Bhante explain the Pali word in more detail?
Okay. Mana is conceit. Mana means conceit. That means we always size up, measure things. Huh? Even the person who became a Sotapanna also has mana. Sakadagami also has mana. Anagami has also mana. Well, how come they have mana? Sakadagami thinks I am not yet Sotapanna thinks I am not yet Sakadagami. So I compare myself to a Sakadagami. Sakadagami thinks I have not yet attained Anagami. So I compare myself to the Anagami person. Anagami person also has mana, conceit, because Anagami person has not yet attained Nibbana. So compare. So mana is completely uprooted when you become an Arahant. But it is just because it is completely uprooted within a deep practice at the level of Arahanthood, there's no teaching, there is no such thing as called that we cannot do anything for our mind. We can practice humbleness to deal with our mind. That means we don't have to compare us to other people, other Kalyana Mittas. We don't have to, compare our Dhamma knowledge with somebody else. Rather, we learn from somebody, right? So we can always become humble in the ways of not comparing our spiritual activities, our Dhamma journey, with another Kalyana. So the moment that you start comparing, you will run out of any levels of your Anatimani habit. Don't ever compare to any other spiritual person, any other kalyana. Unless that comparison will help you to become a better person in a holistic, wholesome. Let's say your friend is more patient than you. You feel that. You took it very hard, but your friend is very calm and quiet. Why don't I learn from them? Right? Something like that. But if you are trying to outsmart, emulate, I know better than you, I have a better than you, I've been practicing more than you, these are really impediments. They are going to impede your existing practice, will not let you go to the next level. So that is how we can think about Antimana. So on the other hand, you know the English version of humbleness, always be humble, which means respecting other people, accepting what you have, and then gradually making your way to the next level.
Thank you, Bhante.
All right, any other questions? We're going to make sure that you get ready for any asking about Uju, Suju next time. I will ask questions. What is Uju? Don't tell me straight, more straight, upright, more upright. Those are really inadequate translations. Actually, those are coming because somebody translate from another English translation. Upright, more upright, right? It does not talk about the true context of the Pali. All right, any questions? And also, I will let you know something. Every time you chant Metta Sutta next time, now we have done the first Pali Gatha. Now, let's say you chant tonight, maybe tomorrow, day after. Try to think about what we did today. Karaniya atta kusale, yantam santam, santam padam is nibbana. Then more important, sakko mastery. Whether I have transformed my Dhamma activities onto skills. Uju means honesty about my bodily actions and my speech. Suju means honesty about my thoughts. Suvato means am I an easy person to listen to? Maybe somebody to talk to me, right? Or am I somebody who's always trying to take over other people when I'm going to talk, right? If I'm somebody who wants the last word all the time conversation, then am I a flexible, soft person to be gentle in speech, in action, in my thoughts? Am I someone who has enough humbleness? So bring about these meanings while you chanting. Otherwise, you will chant, you will never get that full blessings. Actually. Yes, Chan?
Good evening. I have one question. Just now you mentioned that when when you're meditating, we have to be honest with our thoughts. Instead of just being a head there, So could Bhante elaborate on that? How do we become honest with our thoughts during meditation?
Accepting. The first thing is to accept whether you have an unwholesome thought in you, whether you have alobha, whether you have dosa, whether you have more. Please accept. The moment you accept, then you will create a teaching moment. Then it will be a teaching moment that you know that you have to work on that now. But if you don't accept, you are always thinking, no, they are okay, I don't mind about it. Let them come, keep coming. That means you are not accepting. Once you recognize, accept them, then you are going to investigate what you call physically, mentally, psychological, emotion. Then you will understand to transform those akusala thoughts onto the kusala side. That's the simple way to do it. So then you are being very honest. Every time you have an akusala thought, you are understanding. So you are honest to your thoughts. You will become a better person every day. I mean, as you pass your days, as you pass your years, you will become the best of your best, one day in your spiritual path.
Can I ask another question, Bhante?
Yes.
What if when this akusala thoughts arises and then we relate it as anatta? Am I doing the right approach?
What if?
When you have akusala thoughts, you say anatta, non-self. Is this the right approach?
Well, if you can bring anatta also, Anatta is a good technique you can bring after you recognize and accept your akusala. Now you, in the first place, you recognize. Then you accept that I have this issue. Then you investigate this particular akusala, how it came to me. I'm a good person. How it came to me. I've been practicing dana, sila, bhavana, but how it came to me. All of a sudden, you find the source. Then once you found out, you're going to practice anatta this way. You're going to deconstruct you from the event. Let's say you have a loba. You think I want it, and you're going to cut that I part. I mean myself. You're going to deconstruct. You're going to non-identify that event with you. Right? That is anatta. But that could be something that you are doing in the heart, in the deeper practice. So I encourage you, everybody of you, to practice the first couple of these things. I mean, recognize, accept, investigate first. Then you will do more things about it. Then once you got that properly, then you can do the anatta part. You know, anatta part means you're going to cut down your ownership, whatever the ownership that you are giving to that particular event. For example, somebody blamed me. What kind of me was blamed? My previous self today, I mean, today morning. He blamed my previous self. That does not exist anymore. So I cut down that me part. So then I'm not worried about it. All right.
Thank you
Now,
very much, Bhante.
yes, we're going to transfer the good karmas now. Do we have a question in the chat? So, let's reflect upon all the good karmas we've been doing today by starting of the last sutta in the Kuddaka Pata and the first stanza of the Metta Sutta. This sutta should be thoroughly investigated, examined, understood. This sutta should not be, studied as a mere chanting. Because in order to get the full blessings, in order to understand the proper metta practice, we have to understand the skillful habits, 15 skillful habits, and then how they lead to a very wholesome, at the same time, a gradual, deepened, sustained practice of metta. So we studied today 6 out of those 15 skillful habits. The more to come. We'll be studying the rest of the skillful habits as time goes. So I'm planning to take only one stanza because then you will understand more things. Huh? May all these good karmas be transferred to all our departed ones. May they be well and happy. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idam me nyati nang hutu sukita huntu nyateo. Idam me nyati nang hutu sukita huntu nyateo. Idam me nyati nang hutu sukita huntu nyateo. May Deva, Naga, Mahidika be well and happy. May they share all these good karmas and protect and bless all of you. Good health, quality of life, prosperity, safety. In particular, may Deva, Naga, Mahidika bless all of you for your Dhamma journey. May your Dhamma journey be a seamless, smooth, continuous, consistent practice. May Deva, Naga, Mahidika finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata cha ammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodan sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha ammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodan sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata cha ammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodan sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha Chibhumattha Devanaga Mahittika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakhang Tulu Kasasana. Akasattha Chibhumattha Devanaga Mahittika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakhang Tudesana. Akasattha Chibhumattha Devanaga Mahittika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakhang Tumang Paranti Chirang Rakhang Tupang Sadati. In this sansaric journey, till we attain Nibbana, may we be in the company of Kalyana Mittas. Kalyana Mittas do help us maintain our practice, deepen our practice. May we be not in the company of any unwise friends, Papamitas. Thinking thus, we're going to make a wish. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamu satang samagamu yavani bala patyam. Finally, may all the good karmas which we've been accumulating today, by learning the first stanza of the Metta Sutta, including the background, be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana selis nichang vadha prachayino chattaro dhamma vadhanti ayuvano sukhang balam ayurarugya sampatti sagga sampatti me vacha ato nibbana sampatti iminate saminjatu. Sadhu, sadhu. With that, our online Pali reading class for today is over. Seeing you next Thursday at the same time.
Thank you very much, Bhante.
Good night.
Thank you,
Thank you very much,
Bhante.
Bhante.
Thank you very much,
Bhante.
Bhante.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Bhante.
Sadhu,
Good night,
Thank you, Bhante.
everyone. Sunday meditation class will start this Sunday, is it, Bhante?
All right. So I've been actually going to start a new meditation club, which I actually started last week. The invitation primarily came from some students from university, Malaysia, Trangan. So I was thinking to open up this meditation for yoga. So we'll be doing Anapanasati, probably 20 minutes in the first, half an hour, and the rest of the hour, for the time that we're taking an interval will be the walking meditation. So I invite everybody of you, if you have time, you can join every Sunday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bhante.
Thank you,
Sadhu,
Bhante.
sadhu, sadhu.
If you have time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you,
Right.
Bhante.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bhante.
Bhante. Good night.
Sadhu, Bhante.
Ready?
Bhante, is the meditation on Zoom as well?
On Zoom, yes. Online
Okay.
meditation, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Yes. Okay,
Oh,
good
so
night, everybody.
this Sunday, this Sunday morning, we start the meditation.
Yeah. Yes, it's going.
So
Yes.
see you, Bhante. Thank you.
Yes, see you. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Bhante.
Good night. Good night, Kim. Good night, Anne.